The machinery of dehumanization, the systemic tactics of American chattel slavery. Imagine living in a world where the law declared that you were not a person, but property. A world where your spouse could be sold without warning. Your children could disappear at an auction. Learning to read was a crime. Speaking out could cost you your life. Every movement was watched, every decision controlled, and every aspect of your existence belonged to someone else. This was not fiction. This was American chattel slavery. For nearly 2.5 centuries, millions of African men, women, and children lived under one of the most sophisticated systems of oppression ever created. It was not sustained simply by chains or forced labor. It depended upon an entire machinery of dehumanization, a system carefully engineered through laws, violence, economic exploitation, psychological terror, and social control. Understanding how this system functioned is essential to understanding American history itself. Unlike many earlier forms of servitude throughout history, American chattel slavery was hereditary and permanent. Under the legal doctrine known as partis sequitur ventrem, a child inherited the status of the mother. If the mother was enslaved, the child was born enslaved. From birth, countless children entered a world where they possessed no legal rights. They could not vote. They could not testify against white citizens in court. They could not legally own property. They could not freely travel. They could not legally protect their own families. Most importantly, they could be bought and sold like livestock. This legal framework formed the foundation upon which slavery operated. Violence became the language of control. Whippings were among the most common punishments. Individuals could be beaten for working too slowly, speaking without permission, resisting orders, attempting escape, or simply being accused of disobedience. But punishment was rarely private. Enslavers often gathered entire plantations to witness these beatings. The goal extended beyond disciplining one individual. It was designed to create fear in everyone watching. Branding with hot irons permanently marked some enslaved people as property. Heavy iron shackles restricted movement. Confinement, starvation, sleep deprivation, and physical torture reinforced the message that resistance carried enormous consequences. Violence was not random. It was systematic. Every punishment reinforced the institution itself. Perhaps no weapon proved more devastating than the destruction of families. Marriage between enslaved people held virtually no legal protection. Parents could wake one morning with children beside them and go to sleep that evening knowing those children had been sold hundreds of miles away. Husbands and wives were routinely separated. Brothers and sisters disappeared forever. Entire generations were fractured through slave auctions conducted solely for profit. Enslavers understood something fundamental. Strong families created hope. Hope encouraged resistance. By destroying family bonds, they attempted to destroy emotional resilience itself. Many formerly enslaved people later described family separation as more painful than physical punishment. Children represented another form of wealth. Because slavery passed through the mother, every birth increased an enslaver's assets. Many plantation owners encouraged or coerced reproduction because each child represented future labor and future profit. Women often endured repeated pregnancies while receiving little medical care, poor nutrition, and almost no control over their own bodies. Historical records also document widespread sexual violence against enslaved women. These assaults reflected not only personal cruelty, but the broader system that denied enslaved women even the most basic control over their own lives. Less frequently discussed, but equally documented, is the sexual violence committed against enslaved men. Modern historians increasingly recognize that sexual assault and sexual humiliation formed another weapon within slavery's machinery. These acts were intended to destroy dignity, undermine masculinity, humiliate victims publicly, and demonstrate that no aspect of an enslaved person's body remained beyond the enslaver's authority. It was psychological warfare. Knowledge itself became dangerous. Throughout the South, especially after slave rebellions frightened plantation owners, states enacted laws making it illegal to teach enslaved people to read or write. Books became symbols of freedom. Literacy meant access to ideas. Ideas inspired resistance. Letters enabled communication. Reading maps encouraged escape. Learning became an act of rebellion. Despite these risks, many enslaved people secretly educated themselves at night, often risking brutal punishment if discovered. They understood that education represented power. Surveillance completed the system. Plantation overseers monitored daily labor. Slave patrols searched roads, forests, churches, and homes. Written passes controlled movement. Gatherings required permission. Even religious services were frequently supervised. Privacy scarcely existed. The goal was simple: prevent organization, prevent communication, prevent escape, above all, prevent hope. Yet despite every attempt to crush the human spirit, resistance never disappeared. Some enslaved workers slowed production. Others intentionally damaged tools. Many secretly preserved African languages, music, religious traditions, and family customs. Thousands escaped slavery altogether. Others organized revolts despite knowing the consequences could be death. Some simply survived with dignity in a system determined to deny their humanity. Every act of resistance, whether large or small, challenged slavery's central claim that one human being could rightfully own another. Defenders of slavery often describe the institution as paternal or benevolent. History tells a different story. An institution built upon forced labor, family separation, legal inequality, surveillance, physical violence, and economic exploitation cannot accurately be described as humane. The evidence preserved through court records, slave narratives, plantation documents, newspapers, and historical scholarship reveals a system maintained through fear and coercion. Yet this history is not solely a story of suffering. It is also a story of extraordinary resilience. Millions of enslaved Africans and African Americans preserved hope under impossible circumstances. They built families despite constant threats. They protected their cultures despite relentless oppression. They educated one another in secret. They fought for freedom through countless acts of courage. Their perseverance laid the foundation for generations that followed. Understanding the machinery of dehumanization is not about dwelling on the past. It is about recognizing how systems of oppression are constructed, how ordinary institutions can become instruments of injustice, and how the human spirit can endure even under unimaginable conditions. The story of American chattel slavery remains one of history's greatest tragedies, but it is also one of history's greatest testimonies to resilience, survival, and the enduring pursuit of freedom. That legacy continues to shape America today.